is Dr. Maxwell Okoth. I'm the CEO and founder of Ruai Family Hospital. We also trade as RFH Healthcare. I was born in Homa Bay Town, Homa Bay District Hospital. I think it has circulated in social media for the longest time as one of the hospitals that has not changed ever since it was built when people are comparing counties. Grew up in Homa Bay, went to Homa Bay Primary School. My mother was a bank clerk at that time. Mother of two. Before she found my father, she was a single mother. And so we grew up, I think when I was growing up, the person she was seeing used to be very violent. I remember one day she called the father to come and chase this man away, and we never saw him. I'm telling you things I've never told anyone. You get me? To tell you that you can come from nowhere to be somewhere. And so eventually she met someone who now I call my father, is a person I took the name from, and we grew up as a family. Went to Homa Bay Primary until class 4. Class 5, we were taken to a private school called Sango Academy. By private, it does not mean these privates you see, Brook House, Peponi, and stuff. It was a basic private school. I was a day scholar. Until class 8, I remember we used to go for preps. You know preps? And we would carry mattresses because we would sleep in that school. So we were given a classroom. We sleep in the evening when everyone has gone to sleep. We spread down, we sleep, and you can imagine the dust in that class. Wake up in the morning, go for dawns, rush to the house, shower, take breakfast, come back to school, and that was our life. I was lucky to have been number 2 in my school, so I was called to Nairobi school. At that time, my father said, no, I will not allow you to go to Nairobi because utapotea. Ama utaribika, si ndio? And looking back, I think he had a reason. And trust me, I think had I come here, probably ningepotea. Because my colleague, who was also my classmate, who was called to Nairobi school, did not finish. He was transferred later to another school in Nyanza called Rapogi. That story for another day. So I went there. No, I stayed home when everyone, imagine you've gotten 500 and something out of 700. Everyone has gone to school. You're the only one left in the village with house helps and children. And they're wondering, we thought this boy had passed. What has happened to him? Eventually, my father was maneuvering his ways. He was a high school teacher. And so eventually, he came home with a calling letter from Maseno School. So I want to give you the contrast between these two schools. The calling letter for Nairobi school was colorful. Green, yellow, purple, pink. All the page papers were different colors. And they're telling you, come with a baseball, what, have a laundry bag, have a, what do you call it, grocery, if it was a kijiko na nini zinaitwanga nini? Cutlery. Then the letter from Maseno comes, it's a duplicating paper, black and white, smudged all over, and they ask me to carry a slasher and a hockey stick. So you sit and ask, and this side has a swimming costume, by the way, this side has no swimming costume. And I've never swum in my life, despite having been raised in the shores of Lake Victoria. You're like, I think my father has done me a disjustice. You know, he wants to punish me. Nonetheless, we took a taxi, went to Kisumu, bought my uniform, and I drove into this gate, and we entered at around 4 p.m. And you're seeing people running everywhere like madmen. You're wondering, is there a fire or they're running from a ghost? Because in that school, when the bell rings, you run. I didn't know that. So I was wondering, what's going on here? And they have some funny sleeveless tops. You know, that's the uniform for the games kids. I entered Maseno school, late by 6 weeks. First exam for first term, I panicked. I tried to steal exams. And one of my desk mates reported me, and I remember I was slapped a slap I've never forgotten in my life. Because I didn't know failure in my life. You understand me? And I was not prepared for that exam. So I went back home, 132 out of 200 and something people, the worst results I've ever gotten in my entire life. I came back second time, I said, I want to prove these people that I am better than what they think. And so I narrowed myself in shame for having been caught stealing exams and just started studying. And then I joined the chapel, I became a chapel boy, so we could clean the chapel every morning and evening. And that time I would go and pray to God every morning and say, God, please, you said you'll make me the head and not the tail. You'll bless me when I come in and when I go out. Believe you me, from 130 something, the next exam I was number 13 in the entire school. And that was, I never looked back. I worked hard in Maseno, became there was a newspaper boy, letter boy, then it's called a senior boy, then I became a captain. So I was a dining hall captain, finished, got an airplane, among the top 100 students in this country. I wanted to do BCom. And I think I'd chosen BCom as my first option, pharmacy as the second. We share some things in common. So my father calls me after I got an A, you're in the newspaper, the whole town has celebrated you. People in Homa Bay had never seen someone in newspaper before. And he asked me, what did you choose? I said, BCom. I said, no, you're not going to do BCom. He had his reasons. I knew why I wanted to do BCom. And so he said, and I sat down and I said, listen. So sometimes it's good to listen to your elders. And he told me, I don't have an issue with BCom, but this is my argument. That time, so that thought process should not apply today. You understand me? Medicine was guaranteed employment when you finish. The government would absorb you. BCom, you had to hustle, right? And there were only 2 medical schools in this country, University of Nairobi and Moi. University of Nairobi was taking 190, Moi was taking 90. So every year we only had 280 students graduating. And so you'd be taken and have a job. BCom, we had all these universities, and so it would be thousands. And so he said, take this and get a stepping stone, then you can do whatever you want to do. And for that, I thank him. And so I went, changed my course, and I went to medical school. And so I'm this boy who wants to do BCom in medical school. Why did I want to do BCom? My brain is structured in a way that I like things with principles. You get me? So if it's chemistry, it has a principle. Alkaline plus acid is they neutralize. You get me? Yes. Or you do maths, or you do physics, or I do accounting. I like figures. So you land me in medical school, and the first textbook I have is called Last's Anatomy. It is this size thick. Then you take me into a room full of dead bodies wrapped in polythene bags, and you tell me, I will cut this body until I'm left with nothing on the table. You start with the gluteus area, you remove the leg, you come to the hands, you remove the head, until you are left with nothing. And so this is not a theory, because biology, I just passed through biology. I could not take history because I don't like theory. And I want to survive in this sector. And there's no maths in med school. It is theory top bottom. Man must live, and you survive, right? And so I survived. And I said, failure is not my portion. And so first year, we passed by, in med school, it's the difference between distinction and credit is very far. A pass is 51 till 70 something. Every wrong answer is a negative marks. You get me? So when you guess, you lose the little you've gained. So you better guess wisely. There are times you would get -8% and the others would get -30%. True story. I think those things are still in my house. I have those papers. And so you don't guess, but you have to answer. So we survived. First year we survived, passed through. First year, third year were the toughest years, and 5th year. So we survived through. Second year now was a bit flexible. I needed to do what to do. And I said, my passion was to lead something and to start something that can grow. You see the way he started Affecto, and it's growing. I'm sure the first cohort had few, now you have somebody, wherever he sleeps and says, I've impacted 200 and something students, because tomorrow if you have a family of 10, even those 10 people, his part of the impact is done. That is called multiplier effect. So I needed to do something that can grow. The second year in my room, I started Googling things and then I realized websites had just come in and everyone was crazy about websites. I said, so I started practicing how to design websites on my own way. And so through YouTube and all those things, I got to know about this thing called Joomla. Joomla is a CMS, content management system. So you can be able to design a website. It's like you're just putting things together. They've done the coding for you. So I don't need to understand coding. And so with that, I started making websites. I got a gig that paid me 50K in campus. You can imagine how 50K is. You get me? Because my help My HELB loan was 13,500 per semester. Because it's 35,000, 8,000 goes for the fees direct, the other one is divided by 2. And when we got 13,500, I felt like a billionaire. And I would walk the campus and I tell them, you know my name is Dr. Okoth, M.O. Mwangi Pesa, you know. And so they gave me a nickname called M-Pesa, and that name stuck to date. So the Mwangi came because it was Maxwell Pesa, because now I could floss the way, you know, the Luo in me could not keep quiet. And so I started business. Now I'll tell you how the business came, and then the name Mwangi came. So I started hustling websites, and then I had friends, uncles, relatives who, you know, just connections here and there, not connections which are very big. But you say, when you say connections, someone might think they're very big. Your uncle or auntie has a kakinyozi somewhere to tell him, I can make for you a website, give me 5K. Because there's nothing that it costs you. You know, we were the richest students in this town. You live in Lower State House Road, in the hostels of University of Nairobi. You have your own room. You don't buy a mattress, you don't buy a bed. You just need to appear, you know. So, and appear in style while at it. So I started designing websites, make a few coins here. Then one day, I got to know about e-commerce. And so we designed this website, which was like an e-commerce shop. And it was on my desktop for the longest time. Then I thought, what do I do with this thing? And then I called it Mkoba, because it's like a shopping bag, right? So that was the beginning of mkoba.co.ke. It was an online shop, one of the first online shops in this country. That time there were only 2, Dillfish and Mkoba. And so Mkoba was mine. I was running it from my hostel. You make an order, I rush to Luthuli, because I was a hustler. I rush to Luthuli, I go get you something, I rush you to the office, I deliver. So in 30 minutes you'd get your order. And people were not used to this. And they were so fascinated. And I would deliver things at Nation Center, all these offices, and the word went round, and we became big. I remember one of the Valentines, when I was in second year, I said, now this is where I'll make money. See, Valentine's is tomorrow. I walked down to Arboretum Drive, met this guy who was selling flowers. Of course, he has to be a Mwangi or Kariuki. And Dr. Otieno is coming and telling him, in a light note, no bias to our names, right? So I said, I want to buy flowers, tomorrow I will sell. And he looked at me like, okay, it's a different one, you know. So I agreed, but I said, I am not paying you now. I will pay you after I sell, but you need to trust me. So that is called power of negotiation. And he trusted me on the first meeting. He gave me this bouquet of flowers. So I went to class. It was a class of, so parallel plus regular, we were about 300. Said, I am here to help you. To all the men who are shy to deliver flowers, I will take the shame for you. Just give me the order, give me the hostel number and the room number. I will dress in a suit, I will deliver the flowers for you. I was the most presentable delivery guy in campus that day. And boss, I made money. And we made money. And I went to that guy, paid him his money, and we are friends still to date. So I didn't continue that business nonetheless. Then now, when we went to second year again, first years were coming, and medical textbooks are very expensive. One textbook would go for 4,000, another one 3,000. And so I said, now, we have to make money here again, right? So now that's where the name Mwangi comes in. And so I was told their second, so actually when we were in first year, we were told second-hand books are cheaper in Ngara. So I went to Ngara, looked at those things, and like, hey, there are books here. Where they come from, I don't know. But I'm not party to that, right? Me, I'm a person doing his clean business. So there are people who go sell after they finish or they don't know, right? And so they have all this. I know you know Ngara, uko nyuma ya Equity, where there are books. So I went there, negotiated with them. So I called my friends and we started this company. That was the first company I registered called Tomon. Tomon is 10 in Masai. So Tomon 10, so we were 10 people, 10 boys with their girlfriends. So 10-10, right? Tomon 10. So we registered 10. So we changad. Everyone was putting a care. So we went, bought textbooks. I would carry them in a sack from Ngara to UN. And we sold to first years. I think the first day we made 45,000 shillings profit. You can imagine. So money was good. And so Maxwell was called Mwangi Pesa. And I would walk into Kimathi Street. That time that was the street, right? This is campus life. I'd rather tell you the truth than lie to you. You get me? Yes. So Kimathi Street was a red light district those times. Not red light in terms of the other red light, but all the clubs were there. So there was Tacos, Taco Bell, Betty's, and all those people. And so we would go there, but of course you don't have a lot of money, so you buy one beer like this and unailamba mpaka asubuhi, you know, and you sit on the counter like you have money, but you don't have. It's all in the confidence and how you present yourself. And so yeah, Tom on 10, then when the money came in, politics came in. Now these are challenges of chama and groups. If you're not aligned in ideologies and people broke up with their girlfriends, and so if my girlfriend is in a meeting, I cannot be in that meeting, and so Tomon broke apart. And so I walked out of Tomon. And I concentrated on Mkoba. I will tell you, the company that was called Dillfish is what is called Jumia today. You understand me? So when Jumia was coming into Kenya, they were looking for an online shop that had a name and had penetrated. And it's called mergers and acquisitions as part of expanding businesses across borders. And so they bought Dillfish. Before they bought Dillfish, Dillfish was transferred to a certain name I can't remember, then it became now Jumia. What happened to my Mkoba? You see, today I would be in the New York Stock Exchange, because Jumia is listed in New York Stock Exchange. So I did Mkoba, then on my 4th year, I could not run it anymore because I had to go for my electives in Kisumu, and there was no one to run it, because I was the head, the tail, and everything of that company. So I had to decide. Between nursery 1 year, class 8, that's 9 years, Form 4, that's 13 years, plus 4 years in university, that's 17 years of education. Should I leave this and concentrate in this business I've run for 2 years, or should I leave the 2 years and finish what I've started? What would you do? You leave the 2 years, you finish, right? So I folded Mkoba and we folded shop. I've never gone back to it again. But that tells you that it was a business with a potential. That time, it's like right now you're seeing all this, what do you call it? There's this company that Market Force has raised $40 million. That's 4 billion Kenya. Do you know what 4 billion Kenya shillings is? If you have 4 billion somewhere and you sit every day for the rest of your life, you tell me how much you will withdraw to finish this money. If you're withdrawing 100,000 every day, tell me how many years you will live. That money will kill you before you finish it. You get me? So people are raising $4 billion today because they've just bought softwares and systems and they're selling it. So that would have been me then. But anyway, I had to make decisions on opportunity cost. Nonetheless, when I was doing all this, there's no single day I had a receipt or a supplementary or a rewind. You get me? You have to balance. So this was part-time. I don't play football, and so when people in football, I would be on the computer trying to do these things or thinking of a business strategy or writing, because that was my passion from day one. And so I finished med school, I graduate. That year my mother loses her job, they get retrenched, and so I'm here as a firstborn in a family of 5 that I need to show direction. I remember calling my family for a meeting when she came back and told us she's no longer working, and told them that our life will not change. Will not change. We will still put a brave face and we will survive and storm this thing. So that year the government delays to absorb interns. We usually enter in January, we enter in April. So 4 months you're there, you don't know what you're going to do next with your life. I'd chosen Kiambu as my internship center, and so I go look for a bed sitter. That time wardrobes had just come in. There were new things, you say fitted wardrobes, you know. There's like a sink over there, like a bed sitter, a sink is in a corner like this. I pass there every day and I laugh, because that's where my life started. Then you enter and you realize you're actually a very poor man. I didn't even own a mattress. That's when I realized the university spoiled us. It gave us a mattress and a bed. We only needed to appear. You get me? And we appeared. And we actually did our part. So I'm here, internship. I don't have a mattress, but I had this carpet that I'd bought in Isili with my first help, because my room, I like my spaces, so I try to make my space as comfortable as much, because that's where I go and put myself back when everything around me fails. You can have friends here, but the last thing is when you draw back yourself to your own self, right? So I have this carpet, so I slept on that carpet for actually 2 weeks without a mattress. My wife today, who was my girlfriend, will confess. I remember when she used to come visit, I would go to the next door neighbor and borrow a mattress. And then when she leaves, I take it back. And so I slept on a mattress for some time. Next time I bought a mattress, bought a bed, like that. So we bought a system. That time changers were the thing, you know. Because now you're an intern, people wanakuita daktari, walking down Kiambu Road, unaenda district hospital. Huku nje wewe ni mtu mkubwa sana, you know. So then I said, I will be the best intern in my place than anyone else. Because now this is my career. This is my career. And so I gave it my all. I would always cling onto the consultants and show me how to do a CS, show me how to do a what. So I needed to know these things because I knew now my next business is in this industry that I'm doing. So on my second rotation, because you have rotations, you do, I did maternity first, then I went to medicine, then surgical, then pediatrics. So on my second rotation, which is medicine, having been very good, one of our doctors was the chief medical officer Nairobi Women's, and so she asked me, can you be covering up for some of my shifts in Nairobi Women's, because I think you could. So I used to go to Nairobi Women's, and then the one in Hurlingham was a 3-bedroom house. I looked at it and say, if this guy did this, then why can't I do it? That's now where the idea to start Roy Family Hospital came in. It was a 2-bedroom house. He had this examination couch made of wood. The stool was made. I still have those pictures in my phone to date. I said, I will do the same thing. So I started shopping around for where I'm going to put this clinic of mine. Sometimes I would rush all the way to Rongai, Nairobi Women's, in the evening and come back in the morning for my rounds in Kiambu. And I pushed myself to the wall. I didn't have any resting time. And internship is not the easiest thing. You do 36 straight hours. In the morning you do your rounds, at night you are on call, then the next day you hand over. Your patients is when you go home. So yeah, then I realized now I'm also starting my own clinic. Because in Kiambu we had women from Mathare, Dandora, everywhere in Nairobi going to Kiambu. It was easier than going to Kenyatta. So we had traffic. And a mother comes for a surgery, those who are bleeding with fibroids, and you tell them the nearest theater space available today is in 2 years from now. 2 years they will be dead. You understand me? So he just told me there's a gap and a need in this market that needed to be filled. So I started looking for a space. So my two options were either I go to Pipeline. That time all those apartments were coming up and there was traffic and population density was very high. Then my girlfriend, who's my wife today, I'll still repeat, tells me the bypass has just been built called the Eastern Bypass. And there's a place there called Roy. My parents have bought a piece of land there. It's a small shopping center, but it doesn't have a facility. The day I went to Roy, I fell in love with Roy. The same day, I had saved a bit of money, and then of course my mother had lost her job. So I knew she had some money somewhere. You know, when you leave your job, they pay you your dues, right? So I knew she had money somewhere, but now how do I get this money from her? So I went back, got a place, negotiated with the landlord the same day. I told him I'll pay you tomorrow. So they sent me the lease, I signed, called my mom at night, I said, Mom, you know, we are being paid a salary, but our pay slip's written temporary, right? I can't get a loan with a temporary pay slip. Loan me, when I finish internship, I'll be permanent and pensionable. I'll take a loan in a bank and give you back, right? She felt, what do you want to do with it? There's a piece of land in Kitengela I've seen, it's a deal. I want to buy it. You see a parent when you're buying land, they're like, hey, my son is responsible, you know. At least it's not hypothetical. If you tell them business, they're like, no, you're not going to gamble with my money. So she wired this money to me and I paid, and that's how Roy Family Hospital started. In September 19th September 2011, we opened our doors. In a small 2-bedroom a flat in Roy Shopping Center. Sitting room was the reception. First bedroom was consultation room. Second bedroom was a procedure center. The kitchen was the lab, and the washroom was a common washroom. So I would go to Kiambu, do my things, rounds, when I finish, I take a matatu through Kirigiti, Ruiru. I remember this place, I would sit here for 1 hour waiting for matatu Ijai and Yotwende Ruai. This road was empty. No one there was nothing. You see these kamakis you see here? You'd actually, at night, you'd be scared to drive here because there was nothing. That's what I've seen this place grow from zero. And so we started, then at some point paying rent on the other side, and here became hard. I moved out of a small place in Kiambu, entered the clinic. So the clinic was my house and the clinic. Man must leave. You have to cut costs when things are hard. So choose the lessons you want to take from me. If you want to take the fact that I used to go to tacos, that's up to you. You get me? Choose the lessons. Me, I'm giving you a story. So it depends which line you want to take. Sawa? But I'll tell you the ones which are wrong by me going to tacos that I'm not happy with. You understand? And the ones which are right by me going to the clinic and living there, that has made me who I am today. You get me? So I moved to the clinic. I would sleep on the examination couch in the morning, wake up, shower in that washroom, which is also the toilet for the patients, and take a matatu all the way to Kiambu. So that was it. Then after that, I finished my internship, was taken to Nyeri. Now I've left people here working for me, and I'm running a business via remote control. And the culture of Kenyans, I don't know where we got this stealing attitude and culture from. We're just thieves, for lack of a better word, and I'm sorry. They stole, and they stole from me, and I could borrow, and I borrowed, and I borrowed. I was borrowing a debt here to pay a debt here, and a debt here to pay a debt here. It was terrible. Long story short, 2014, we moved from the clinic to where our family hospital is today, which was a 10-bed maternity hospital. Asked the landlord to build the second part. We became 40-bed, put an X-ray, CT scan, bought an ambulance. From there, 2016, when doctors went on strike, we got a lot of referrals from Tala. We went and opened Tala as a 10-bed maternity hospital. Space came up in Nyayo Estate, Embakasi. We went and opened an outpatient. Then I said, because we came in Ruai, now let's buy land. And I bought a piece of land there, paid by installments. Then 2017 December, we started construction. And that's the RFH Specialist Hospital today, which is 100 beds, 7 ICU beds, 5 HDUs, 7 dialysis centers. We have 3 theaters there. We do neurosurgeries, spinal surgeries, orthopedic, knee replacements, hip replacements, name it, CT scans, all that. That's 2019. 2021, we opened Ruaka, which is a 30-bed. In April, in August, we opened Kamakis. In December, we opened Komarok. This year, we are opening Syokimau. 2019, again, we opened Jacaranda in Kawa West. We opened Syokimau. And that's the story of my life. You borrow, you pay on time, people trust you with their money, you go back and borrow more and pay on time. It's called diligence, determination, and faith. And that will make you who you are. If I've impacted you, I don't know. If there's a lesson you've picked from me, I don't know. But there's something about this country. It rewards hard work. But it also punishes sometimes, but that is intentionally to toughen you. What I've not told you, it has not been a smooth sailing. We have been fought. If you Google Roy Family Hospital, there are 2 stories you'll see there, which were politically in nature, because either there's a competitor who does not like you, or somebody thinks you've grown too much and they want to bring you down. But if God is with you, he will never let you fall. Because they ask themselves, where's this young boy coming from? And who is the father or who is the mother that is growing so fast? You understand? And when you become so successful, people will try and call you everything. But as long as you know your faith and everything you do is above board, it will always keep growing. I have believed there's no shortcut in this world. The first debt I ever borrowed was from my mother. The first bank debt I borrowed was 300,000. Somebody has trusted me with 100 million, another one with 200 million, another one with 600 million. The next one will trust me with 1 billion, and it keeps growing. You get my point? And so you just need to keep your name more than anything else. You understand? Secondly, it does not matter what course you do. My class, we had the sons and daughters of who and who. And people were given capital in millions to start businesses. It is not successful today. Do not do something because somebody else has done it. Do it because you have a strong conviction that that is what you want to do. And that is where your passion is. And you wake up every day because you enjoy doing it. People saw me struggling and suffering. They're like, why are you suffering, Maxwell? There are doctors who do locums and they're paid 1,500 per hour. Why don't you go and work for 1,500 per hour? 12 hours is how much? And nobody will ever ask you for any debt. But I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to build. We built one of the most affordable private hospitals in this country over time, and that's why we have grown. You get me? Because we are focused in what we do, we believe in what we do, we believe in our vision and mission to make healthcare accessible and affordable to the most people who cannot, and give you the best ambience that you can get in in most of the best hospitals in this world. And that is our dream and mission. So whatever you think you're focused to be, please get focused into it and move and work towards it.